can't say it. Eglanite, everybody. My name is Tanya Adams. I'm a proud member of the Athabasca Chipewyan First Nation, and I work in marketing and communications at the Mixu Group. I'm here today and grateful to welcome you to the preliminary agenda prior to the in-person residential school vigil taking place in Fort Chipewyan. The vigil will be hosted at the Fort Chipewyan Arbour, which was the site of the Holy Angels Residential School in Fort Chipewyan, Alberta. To start, we have an honor song capturing the video by Randy Martin, Mitchell Mercurdy, and Adrian Cross. Here's the Cree honor song. Next up, we have Denzeline Elder, Roger Darage, and Alan Tsitsia to offer a drum song for the 215 residential school children who were found in Kamloops and all residential school children.
We're going to do a prayer song for all the children that went that went not in a very good way. And this song is for them, right from where it happened, for all across Canada and the United States. They had residential school in both countries. So this song here is for all of us, from the tip of Canada right to the southern tip of United States, and from the east of the United States right to the west of Canada. So this song is for all the children that went to residential school. So that's what we're going to do.
Lastly, representing the students of Holy Angels Residential School, please welcome George Tuckero, Mixu Cree First Nation member, who will be singing Amazing Grace to honor the souls who have lost their lives as a result of attending residential school.
We're still
Are we
back.
good to go?
We're still back.
Okay, thank you. I'll refer to this as Indian time, and I don't say it as a joke. It is our time. It's Indian time. It's our time to really bring out the truth. First of all, it's always been safety is number one. Please respect everyone. Wear your mask. We got this event tonight. They weren't going to have it a couple of days ago. Nooney didn't want to have it. They sanctioned it, and so we took over the reins as Mikisew Cree First Nation because this is our territory. This is Treaty 8 territory, and this is Mikisew territory. Not saying that we don't work together with ACFN and the Métis. We're all one. We're all one people. So the purpose tonight is to the 215 bodies that were found. That's how we came out with having tonight. And it didn't sit well with me that not having it. I didn't sleep very well Monday night. So Tuesday I called Margot and I said, let's have this event. And we're going to have it no matter what. We're gonna make sure we push through. So we told Nooney that we're going to have it. We didn't ask. We just told them because this is our territory. So follow the guidelines, respect one another, respect one another's stories, give each other time. We'll have our opening prayer here by Roy in a few minutes. I want to thank Margot for pushing this through because it's very important for her. We're saying prayers tonight. Look at the geese up there. That's a sign that's going to be a beautiful evening, and it's going to be a painful one. I'll warn you. But coming back with our leadership, Mikisew, later on, we'll have our time to speak. I want to thank everyone for coming out tonight, and this is going to be, I guess, a tribute to the 215 bodies that they found. And these shoes here were donated by the Northern. It's just funny how things happen. The creator is the boss, and they are the ones that the creator is the one that makes these things happen. We don't end up here on our own. So with having said that, I'll call upon Roy to do the opening prayer and the drum. And thank you very much for your participation. Let's have a beautiful evening. Hi, hi. And I got so excited, I forgot to introduce myself. I am Peter Powder, the chief of the Mikisew Cree First Nation, and I'm very proud to be your leader and to be here tonight. And I was told the other day by another leader, I got chosen to lead in this era because I could do the job. And thank you very much for respecting that and showing up tonight. The orange looks beautiful, beautiful, and every one of you. You all look beautiful. Hi, hi.
I thank you for today. I thank Nooney Health for giving me the privilege to do the honorarium prayer song for the 215 deceased that were found. As Peter mentioned earlier, a lot of people are going to be hurting. But need I remind you people something? Instead of hurting, reverse that around in your mind. You can do it. You have the power of the mind to achieve that goal. In the Western world, they say reconciliation, resilience. In my world, the elders, the old people, they say, you know the mind. You have the ability to do it. Never, ever give up on yourselves, people. Never. Be moving forward as the day goes, from sunrise to sunset. Other time, like you said, Indian time, it don't matter. We're on the same time page. Another thing to remember, people, often than not, in the past 2 years, that I had the opportunity and the chance in reassessing my mind, my knowledge, it brought me here today, to this point in time, and the well-balanced thought of a human being. You people, through similarities of life, you have all that in you. You have all those gifts in you to be able to achieve anything that's out here in this world today. You've come this far. You've come this far in life, in understanding to your way of life, to this present point in time. Fix your balance. That's where the catch is. That's where I found myself. relocating myself in a well balance of a being in the mind, in dealing with any issue, anything that's ongoing, anything that's going to happen, anything that's going to take place, I can handle it. I don't feel no anger today. I'm not sad today. I reversed that thought in my mind, and guess what I came up with? Those young people, whatever they went through, the truth finally came out for them to be found. Just remember, these are children. And today, as I believe the Creator, you're up there in the heavens with the Creator. I'm thankful that they're up there with the Creator, the children being clean as we were when we were young, and given that second chance of life through the middle of lifetime is what we go through the transitional change over. Life is not the end of the world, people. It's just the beginning here, down here, the second chance in life to go home to a better place. Each and every one of you people, a lot of times, I do know and understand that. You feel so hurt, you feel so lost, you don't know what. You got no answers. The answers are all in you. When you fix your balance of your well-being, you will see that for yourself firsthand. Like no two people on this earth can think the same. Yet human life is all one and the same. Like Peter said, it's not about MCFN, ACFN, white, yellow, or black nation. Just based on human life itself is how I deal with issues. In equality and equal. That's how important human life is. Today's generation, you young people have a better understanding, but we pass these gifts on as we know and understand these things. The young children need protection at all costs, at all times. They're the future plan moving forward. We need to push them in the right direction of order. And regardless what, the people of the North, you're the caretakers of this chunk of land over here in the northern region. So is a medicine wheel that I represent, stands forth behind everyone and anyone that enters Fort Chipewyan. Hey, thank you.
Thank you, Roy, for the beautiful prayer and a beautiful song. Hi, hi.
Okay, the next, I would like to call on our chief, Mikisew Cree First Nation Chief, Peter Powder, our counselor, Russell Kiskaman, our counselor, Lydia Couture, Bonnie Couture, Sherry McKenzie, and is there any other counselors here? Roxanne? No. Okay. You want to come up here, please?
Thank you, Margot. I just want to acknowledge our chief and council for the Mikisew Cree, and we are your leaders. And tonight, I'm very proud to introduce them. Margot introduced them already, so I'll just have a few words when they get up here. We're doing everything according to our custom. So as we pray and we turn around, I know some people are not used to the custom, but just don't be afraid to ask your fellow partner what we're doing and when we're doing it. And nothing is laid out tonight. Not everything's going to work out, systematically as we look at it. We're going to do our best, and just be patient with us. Thank you. Yeah, I already heard 6 feet apart. So 6 feet apart, and wear your mask when you're out there. So thank you, Russell, Sherry, Roxanne, Bonnie. I speak in behalf of the Cree First Nation here. I have an address to make, and when I left Fort Chip, I lived in before that I lived in Cutbush with my grandmother, and I learned how to speak a little bit of Cree. So don't judge me on my Cree, but I'm going to try a little prayer here real quick. Naskama wata tawino tabi wata tamak suaka wasakota message siwak mamwi apikota and me wetin anos miogi sagao hi. So thank you for that. Just a little bit of my Cree that I'm trying to get back. So my remarks tonight, sometimes when you're sitting down the last few days, I was thinking about this. I was really thinking about the children. It was really sad. It was, and you listen to the news across country. I called a lot of other chiefs, past chiefs, asking, what do I think of this? Because as a leader, I rely on all our community, our leaders, our past leaders, to tell me, the direction to go. I don't pretend to think I know everything. I always go by my elders. When people pass by my house, I wave at them. I'm waving because I'm acknowledge that I love you and that I care for each and every one of you. So thank you, elders, for creating this space and sharing and healing. Acknowledge the tragic discovery in Kamloops will rekindle trauma in our community. Pain, rage is real, just like Roy said. Let's switch it around. But rage is real and intergenerational with all of us today, passed down through generations. We are long past apologies as we continue to dig up truth. Little story with that is I listened to Walter Janvey's speech the other night. He was very angry. He talked about genocide. So I listen. I don't judge. I just listen and I take what I can from it. I know the deep pain as a residential school survivor. I was a kid. I lived not too far from here, Cutbush, just Doghead here by the store, the trap line. And I remember running away from the Holy Angel School with my sister, Vina, my brother Moon. We ran down the hill just behind here. And luckily the gate was open. So the story for me is maybe not as painful as your stories, but I did run away. And I ran away only because I didn't like it. You only run away from things because you don't like it. And I ran away. I had the courage at 6 years old to talk to my sister Vina and my brother Moon and said, okay, 4 o'clock this day, we're going to run. So already then at 6 years old, I was already organizing, running away. And when I used to come to that fence back here, my grandmother used to send me with bannock to feed Baby Joe, Morris, all my relatives that were in here, Hector Whited. But I was allowed to not, I didn't come back, but my granny used to put bannock in my pocket to come feed my cousins. And that was the truth because that was what was happened. Little did I know there was bodies underneath. I didn't know that. I was just a young kid, just, running wild, you want to say. But I used to have to come by the residential school here, and the nuns, used to tell us to go away because we were extras. And if you all know about the nuns back then, we used to have hockey games between the missionaries and the extras. I'm sure you guys all can relate to that. But that's my story, and there's going to be a lot of stories, painful stories tonight. That's just my story. That's what I know. That's the truth from what I grew up. I forgot a lot of things about what happened that evening, and I can't remember it. And sometimes they say you shut things out you don't want to remember. Sadly, we know there are more horrible truths yet to uncover, possibly more on our very own. In the coming months, Chief and Councillor are planning to discover more truth. We're going to get to the bottom of this. I'm convinced we don't know the full scope of the horror we have endured. We're going to do a full scan of the ground we're standing on, and we're going to do it. We're going to lead it ourselves. We're not going to ask the government to do it. We're going to do it with our own self, and we're going to do the scan ourselves, and we're going to uncover the truth by our own Chief and Council. A ground penetrating radar to see that there remains of people long passed on, and we know it's going to be even more painful when we find out who these people are. And we look around this area here, and we're above it right now. And like Roy said, I like his prayer. Let's switch it around to a positive, but it's still going to be very painful. Regardless of what we find, we know the deep-seated pain has not been addressed properly by those responsible, and apologies are not enough. We cannot get reconciliation until we know the full truth. We also need to heal. As chief, I would like to see a trauma center built here, created on this site, so we can start to heal here on this site. Just remember those words. An Indigenous-led center. As I talked to a past chief, we talked about genocide, talked about this being horrific. There's going to be a lot of words and a lot of news come out. But the main thing right now tonight is we're here together to gather, to share our stories, and to go through this pain together. We are all one together. So as Chief of the Mikisew Cree First Nation, thanks for your time, and let's continue this dialogue with each one another. So thank you. Hi. I'll call upon the ACFN leadership now, please. And thank you, Chief and Council, for coming up here. Thank you, Margot. Oh, sorry, someone else wants to say something. Sorry about that.
Hi, thank you. I'm Councillor Russell Cascade. I'm from Mikisew Cree First Nation. Feelings about this, what has transpired in BC, 215 children. A lot of anger has come in the last couple of days. Not thinking of just that one scenario, but how many others have happened. And how do we deal with it in the future now as well? And that's where I think Chief Powder has mentioned that, to go on and to move on, but never forget and always hold that a lot of families have dealt with a lot of issues, and today it's still lingering in our communities. And how to get by that and how to heal is our next biggest step. But never forget what has happened to us. And one of the biggest things that always comes to my mind personally is genocide, and how it was basically put upon us and to annihilate us. Not only our way of living, but our identity. So that stands big for me. But to move on past that and say, look, my parents have gone through that. They're survivors of it, and we never get to understand as the younger generation of what exactly our parents went through. To see all what has fallen from that as well, trauma to them, alcoholism, abuse, everything that's going on in this community. That has to be worked upon to get us to get us to better and stronger nations and community as well. Thank you very much for today. I'd like to thank the organizers as well, and thank you for having me as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Russell. So if anybody else has anything to say?
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Councillor Sherry McKenzie. It is with heavy hearts that we gather here today. Feelings of hurt, sadness, grief, anger, resentment, and heartache. I cannot begin to imagine what many of our family members went through, but I understand there's much work to be done for both personal healing and continued support for all those who are affected. My heart goes out to all of those affected by the residential schools, including my mother, my aunts, my cousins, my friends, our Mixu members and community members. I am so sorry to all that have had to go through this and experience this in their lives. And speaking as a mother, a grandmother, to all the mothers and grandmothers whose children never came home, I send prayers, love, and strength to bring you during this time, but also moving forward in our journey of healing. Thank you, Elder Roy, for the beautiful song and prayer. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mikisew Chief and Council. Now we'll bring this up to the ACFN leadership led by Flossie Cyprian. Thank you.
Eklana de Salah. Mashicho to Roy Laddiser for the beautiful prayer. Mashicho to Elder Alice Rigney, Terry Martin, Marina Stewart. They're going to be sharing their stories and their prayers also. And I also like to acknowledge Roy Laddiser, Mike Mercady. They will be drumming for us as well with their powerful songs. My name is Flossie Cyprian. I am a council member of the Athabasca Chipewyan First Nation. Chief Ellen Adam, Councillor Hazel Mercady, Councillor Terry Bilburn, Councillor Tim Flett sends their regrets as they could not make it here today. I am honored to be here with you today to share remarks on behalf of ACFN. I would like to recognize the elders in attendance, either here in person or virtually, and also acknowledge the leadership of Mixtu Cree First Nation and Fort Chipewyan Métis with us today. Today, we pause to commemorate together the 2015 children found recently at the Kamloops Residential School. We hold those children, those 215 precious children, their families, communities, and nations in our hearts as we feel their pain and share their grief. Our grief is even greater because we all know that there are countless more children who were lost but never forgotten because of the same tragic reason. We know this grief and pain very well, as we have many residential school survivors here in our community. This is a difficult time for all Indigenous people, and especially those who attended residential schools. This tragic findings has impacted every family in every First Nations in this country. We also know this news can re-traumatize so many of our beloved community members, and we are here for them as they feel this fresh pain, as their hearts have been cracked open once again and painful memories emerge. We encourage you to reach out if you need help. We come together and support each other during this time, holding each other close, especially our little ones, witnessing each other's pain, grief, and trauma. And we must never stop seeking the truth for our survivors, our families, our communities, and our nations. May we work together to heal our collective trauma by speaking truth to power, by speaking our languages and practicing our traditional ways, and by teaching our children as future generations to do the same, to rise up and say, never again. We are here for each other. We are here for you, Mashito.
Thank you, Flossie. It really did come from the heart because I felt it. So the next person I'd like to call on is the Fort Chipewyan Métis President, Kendrick Cardinal.
Thank you, everyone. I just want to let my elder go first, and her name is Lena, and she would like to say some words. Thank you.
Okay, I think I've been here long enough. I was gone for 38 years. I lived in Edmonton. And when I came back, Fort Chip was a different community. It was like I was lost. All these kids that were kids were grown up. They had their own children. Some of them were even grandparents. But I never forgot Fort Chip. That's why I came home. And I ran into Curtis one day and he said to me, "Oh, Auntie, you're back." you come home to die? And I said, Curtis, yes. I said, but I'm not dying today. But anyways, I just wanted to talk a little bit about the residential school. I'm one of the survivors too. I was in there from 1950 to 1955 until my dad decided to move the family into Fort Chip. We were like bush kids. Sagawinawak, that's what we were called. I couldn't speak a word of English when I started school here. I didn't know what yes meant or no meant. So the nurse would tell me things I just couldn't understand. So I got knocked about because of that, you know, because I couldn't figure out what they were trying to teach me in school. Like ABC made no sense to me. But I knew how to count, but I counted in Cree because Kokon taught me how. But ABC didn't mean anything in my Kokon's category anyway. So I was here for that many years. And I was glad to get out of there because of the, oh my God, some of that fish we used to eat was half rotten. And a lot of things. One of the nuns, for some reason, that nun mistreated me. She used to hit me on my head all the time with her fist. Why? I don't know. I never did any harm to her. Maybe she just disliked me for some reason. I don't know. But I had a dream, and I'm going to share my dream with you. When I was living in Edmonton, I had this dream. I was coming home to Fort Chip, and I remember walking along the lake there on the sandbar we used to run. You know, we'd take our shoes off, and I remember doing that and coming across, and then I came here. In my dream is what it was. And in my dream, I'm standing in the corner, and all of a sudden the earth started to tremble. And I thought, oh my goodness, what's happening? But anyway, all of a sudden, out of the earth came this baby. And this baby was covered in water and mud. So I picked the baby up, and it was crying. And I thought, what am I going to do with this baby? So in my dreams, I walked all the way back with this baby and gave the baby to my mom, and she bathed the baby and gave it a bottle of milk. And that's where my dream ended. And I woke up and I thought, what's this dream all about anyway? And I found out later on during the week that I had to come to Fort Chip and deal with some matters. So I did the same thing as in my dream. I walked around the lake there by the sand, took my shoes off, and came here and stand right at the corner where that baby came up. So I had tobacco in my hands, and I prayed to the 4 directions. And I thought, I'm going to scream as hard as I can to get this pain out of me. And I remember, as I was screaming, I said, give me my spirit back. I kept saying, give me my spirit back. Because they had taken my spirit. These nuns and priests and the Catholic Church, because I wasn't brought up that way. My kokum taught me the old way, the old native way. And I remember as I looked up, there was 2 people standing out there by the fence, and they were looking at me. And I thought, well, that's fine. If they think I'm crazy, I guess I am. So that was the end of my dream. I completed it myself. I came down here and did that. Yes, I'll never forget that part of 5 years, let me tell you. But I'm alive and I'm well. And it's very hard. Very, very difficult, you know, to forgive what has been done to you. And when I think of these 215 children that have been found, you know, their bones, that's all that's left of them. What happened here? Why so many children never came home? Why? I guess we know why. but we don't really say anything. All we have to do is pray for their souls, pray for them poor little children, and there's going to be many found. And like I said, I'll bet you thousands will be found up there because they're going to do it every residential school, from what I hear. They're going to be digging up. And that's all I wanted to say today. That's all I wanted to share with you about my dream. And that baby that came out of the ground, that's where these babies are coming out from the ground. And that was years ago. And my dream became reality. We're digging them out now. Have a good day.
Thanks, Elder Lena. Okay, my name is Kendrick Cardinal. I'm the president of the Fort Chipewyan Métis Association. I'm proud and honored to be here today. Today is a sad day for me, but also a happy day. It's a real mixed emotions I'm having. My mother was in a residential school, and she's a very strong, powerful woman. I wear my mother on my back and on my sleeves. She made my shirt that I'm wearing today. I'm very honored to be wearing it. As a Métis man, as a man from Fort Chip, I like to call myself a Dene man and a Cree man and a mixed blood man, a Métis man, because I am from Fort Chipewyan and I am no better and no different than each and every one of you guys. What had happened here in Fort Chipewyan, as well as all across Canada, for the people watching, my heartfelt condolences go out to your families. I'm a powerful man, and I won't let no one ever take that away from me. My struggles in life is why I'm here today. But I also won't let anybody take my language away. Utawi no sagi au it is tatigi sagawi kwe matsian. I'm on a sto. Gotagi to ati the sino wako sise wisto gotagi tato wasak wisto utawi no tmaganakadik. I asked the Creator to watch over each and every one of you guys, and I asked you guys to really think about your forefathers and your past leaders and your mothers and fathers, grandfathers, grandmothers, all your relations, to fill your heart with love and strength, to lift you up, to be powerful, to get through it, to pass on that good message that I am Fort Chip, I am powerful, and I am Aboriginal. I won't ever let anybody take that away from me. We all struggle in life, but today we represent each and every one of us, each other. We stand close, we stand firm, and we stand strong. My grandfather, Julian Cardinal, who I called my dad, who raised me, taught me the Indian way of the sweat lodge and Indian way of life. And I go to Big Point to practice those things. When I feel that I'm losing myself, I focus on trying to make myself better and finding my spirit, like Lena had said. I struggle, but I still will rise above this turmoil that our community is suffering. I still know that the future holds many sorrowful things for the future here. Of course, wanted to thank Roy for the beautiful song that he sang. Chief Powder and his council for his wise words, as well as Nina. Margot, thank you for you and your staff putting this all together. That being said, I really wanted to sing a song because I would not want anybody to take my language away. Like I said, I want to keep continuing to speak Cree. And if I could speak Dene as much as I would like to, I would. But I grew up speaking Cree, and I like to sing a song for the children that are left behind, the children that were taken away, that were not even respected as a human being. I asked the Creator to give you guys, each and every one of you guys, strength today. Like I said, I'm no better than anybody else. I am the voice of Fort Chipewyan while I'm standing up here today, and my people. So that being said, I just wanted to sing a song, and I'm honored to have Mike give me a hand. So you guys stand with me, pray with me. Let all those evil spirits leave this area, and let the Creator fill your hearts with love, peace, happiness, and be powerful and stand as one. The words of this song was, if I ever leave, don't cry for me, because we will see each other again. And like I said, I thank the Creator for today. I'm honored to be here today and representing for the lost and loved ones that we've lost in the past. So thank you very much. Hi, I'm Nascomton. Mercy Cho.
Thank you, Kendrick. So I'd also like to call on our elder from the Mixu Cree First Nation, Terry Martin, if you'd like to come up. Astam.
I don't know if I forgot to thank Flossie for a wonderful speech, but good to see you here, ladies, and thank you very much, Flossie. And also, I wanted to say my a couple of my board directors weren't here, and my sister is here, and I thank her for being here, Julianne. So thank you guys very much.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's really good. And I thank you all for coming here today and supporting the 215 children that never made it home. For the 215 children that never made it home, to their parents, that's their mothers and fathers, that's their grandparents from both sides, their mother's mother and dad, their father's mother and dad. When you do the math, it's a hell of a lot of people for those 215 children. Oops, I forgot to introduce myself. I'm Elder Terry Martin, Mixu Cree First Nation. Number 7. That's the last number I had because I was 16 when I left here. And I was one of the older girls, so I had number 7. They're a few older than me. So this is where we came. But before I tell my story, I would like everyone to think of the family that lost their mother in the community here. Late Elder Mary Coach. She's got children, she's got grandchildren, she's got sisters that are grieving today. So we ask the Creator to put their arms around them so they don't hurt so much. In Cree you say, Igawawia, Tuisagitihisto, so they don't have a hard their heart is not broken so he can put his arms around our Creator. I want to start off with a prayer because I need to pray before I tell you some of my experiences here. But when I speak, not only for myself, to all the children that were in the building that came through that gate, you see, came through there. When you came in through that gate, you knew you were here for a hell of a long time. And so that's for everyone. So with that, I'll ask our Creator to help us. And I ask all of you to join me in giving thanks to our Creator for the beautiful day and for the families that He has given us and for the friendship and love that we show one another. Kindness. Creator, our God, or however you know Him and however you talk to Him is entirely up to you. That's your choice. That's your beautiful body. That's your beautiful heart that speaks to the Creator, to God, or how you know Him. So I'll say mine in three, and then I'll just kind of give an interpretation in English after. Ama mahtawin mo, si manto, kiera miusi, kiemi na laksiwatu toya, magomota lahkio, amiboya, kahkio wujituya, ubigmina kawaniata o mamao, ubigmina siwatu to, hansesis, sigmuhti tau tohte, igawauja tuisere tihisto. Kahkio minomota, kagi, amigamgo, siatin, amigamgo, hagiayato, kahkio minogen, misuyumag ispita, Canada man siya, kahkio nagatina, sagina, mistanang sagitna, magumote, gitmaxia, pihtama, amigam guasa, miskato. Ni son tahtum tanom tah, nyan nasa, tasto. Matan jiu ganagpo. Maga, kuaniguya, kyo mino, gitmaxito. Hey, tatruisto, minuto. Magamoy sufchispe, magno kyoko. Thank you, my Creator, for the beautiful day that you have given us, to be able to share with friends, with family, to be able to share the kindness and the love that we have for one another. Not only for family, but for each and every one of us, friends, neighbors. We also ask you to forgive us for the wrongs that we have done throughout our lives. I'm 71-year-old. Also to put your arms around the Crudery family, the late Marie Crudery. His family is going through grief, losing their mother. The little kids, the 215 people that were found, some of them were young little kids. They wanted to go home. I'm sure, because all little kids want to go home, and they weren't able to. We ask you to forgive the people that were involved in it. Please, my Creator, we cannot go forward if we don't start loving and forgiving one another and ourselves for what we need to do to be able to go forward. Forward does not mean going by straight. It's life that we have to live through. My Creator, I thank you for loving us. And I thank you for giving us the courage to be able to come and stand here, to be able to share a little of what we went through here in the convent, here in the mission. We didn't call it a convent, we called it the mission. And we were the mission canards. I never knew what mission canar meant until much later in life and why we were called that. Thank you, my Creator. I love you. I'm sure that people love you too. Thank you. Manaskom tihot. Sagi nimin tihot. Kamiusi. Simanto. Now I'll start by my name. At home, I was born November the 25th, 1949, out in a tent. Just before trapping, just before my dad went out trapping. We were going to move into the winter cabin, but I was born the night before. My mom didn't bring, and my mother had 9, 10, 11, 12. My mother had 12 children who were all put in the convent. My sister Elsie, white deer, crooked neck, white head. You probably all remember her. She was borderline mental. She had a borderline mental capability. They didn't want her after a year or two. They didn't want her in here, so they literally told my mom and dad that she had to go home. They didn't want her. There was no place for her. So my sister Elsie was lucky. She got to be raised by my mom and dad at home. The fact still remains, the nuns did not want her because of her mental capability. So those ones who all went in. She got to go home. My brother GM, being the oldest boy, was able to live here for 1 year. He told on the nuns what they did, how they mistreated him, how they pulled on his ears. So they didn't bring him in again the second year. They left him with my aunt Rosalie, who lived in town, so her kids could walk to school. They could be extras. And that's what he did for 1 year. Then they took him back home and they raised him at home. He was lucky, another lucky sibling. The rest of us were all in here. Every September, no, we'll go to August. Every August, the time seemed to go so much faster. Because at home, we lived in tents. There was a crucifix and a calendar pinned to the wall of the tent frame. That's where the calendar was. So every August was a terrible time for us, for me, because the countdown came and counted. Because you had to come back in here in September. Sometimes you came in September the 1st, sometimes you came in September the 10th, depending on how Lake Claire was. We got windbound, we were happy. We didn't have to come back in right away. But this is where we came. This very ground is where I confirmed it with one of the girls that I lived in the convent with. This is where the convent was. When we first got this arbor, it was not like this. It was different arbor, but it's the same place. I couldn't understand why they built an arbor here. That's where all our miserable lives were. And but year too. And I was born and raised out in the land. My name was Natalis. Natalis, meaning my daughter. Nstims, meaning my niece. Natalis, meaning my niece, but that's from our uncle who was a brother to my dad, so there's difference how you say that. Nosfil, that's my grandmother, grandparents. It was not a number. In fact, they didn't have to use our names because when they said in dance, we all looked and we knew who they meant. So that's how it was. We spoke Cree, as Lena said. We were bush kids too. We did not understand or had to understand English. But when we came in here, we had to speak English. So you find it difficult when you come in, speak a different language, and you don't know what the heck you're saying. You just follow your bigger sister, your bigger cousin, who was the late Jereni, and my sister Rita. My brother Sammy was in the convent, in the mission yet, but he was on the boys' side. This is the boys' side. This is the girls' side. You see this big fence around you? See, that's the fence. But in the grounds here, we knew our boundaries. We knew the boundaries. There's no marking on the wall, on the ground, but we knew where we could step and where we couldn't. All this year. That's what was driven into us. If you didn't, you got punished and you got a licking, which is a strapping, or you missed your movie on Sundays. They had movies every Sunday. I missed a hell of a lot of Sundays because I was lonesome because I cried. When I cried to go home, she would tell me to stop crying, but I couldn't. I was lonesome. And every evening we had a benediction, it's called. And in there, you prayed Latin, and you sang Latin hymns. And when I remember that we sang every night was Laudate. Anyway, it sounds like that, but that's what we sang. But that was in Latin. To this day, I don't know what I said. But they used to sing hymns. That's when I used to cry. Because my dad used to sing at home at nights now. My dad used to sing hymns. So every time they sang hymns, in the evening of all times, it would send me back home again. I would cry. We would look after one another as siblings, as friends, as little sisters, big sisters in here. Because you couldn't get a hug or to hold your hand. You couldn't get that from the lands. I spent 9 years there. I came out when I was 16 because I turned 16 in November. So that when I had to go in September 15, I had to stay till I turned 16. I stayed in June. I never saw one nun. Kids crying on September. I never saw anybody giving them, you know how you hold little kids, you tell them don't cry, things will be better, don't cry. Nothing. Everything was, you had to do things. You were not given a choice of any kind when you were raised in here. There was 10 months out of the year. It was yes, no, black, white, no maybes, do it, you have to do it. no helping your friend if they were told to mop the floor, sweep the floor. You couldn't help them. They had to do it. If you helped them, you got into trouble. They got into trouble. So you didn't want to get into trouble. You didn't want to get your friend in trouble. So that's how we were raised here. Like I said, the fence around you. The town is over there. I was 18, because I spent 1 year in the bush with my mom and dad after I came out of here. I was 18 when I had my first job as a Hudson Bay clerk. It was Hudson Bay then over there. The post office was always directly across there. Then, it used to be in the back of the store then, I guess, before that, but I was there after. I was 18 when I knew how to make a money order. I didn't know a damn thing about what was happening over there. This is where they secluded us. And I'm saying secluded, and I mean it. This is where we were secluded. We didn't know what was happening over there. They didn't know the abuse that was happening in here. That's how it went. It did not go easy. When I think about it, after they found the 215 children, and I do think about it a lot. When I think about it, if they're ever going to look here, will they find anything? They had access back here. All this was a potato field, where all the grass is over there, hay, that was a potato field. The road that comes down here, straight up there, there's another road. It goes joined right there. And right by the corner on the other side of this road, on your left-hand side, was a potato house. Round, you see a potato house over there yet. Potato house, that's where they kept their potatoes. They had access to, I don't know who knows Fly Ranch, the Fly Ranch over here. We went, they had access over there. They had a building over there where we used to go and have some pancakes every now and then. But the boys used to go up there too, but we went different times. So they had access to all this area. So I really find it hard for me to believe that they would find too much, and then again they may under these grounds. But they had access. They had trucks. They had cats. They had all kinds of machinery here. So they could have went anywhere. Like I said, the road was right open over there. And they have another potato house over there. We're given, when you came in the first, I know I'm all over the place because it's just me. Don't please bear with me. When you first came in September, that's why I wore a sweater today. This is my mother's scarf. It goes to work, so she's got her arms around me. You'd come in with brand spanking new clothes. A sweater, this is how I dressed, I remember dressing. A dress, brand new dress, a sweater, socks, and moccasins that were needed, even though I know those were flowers. She had special little flowers for us. They were all brand new clothes, right from under to top. When you came in, they gave you clothes with your number on it. You had numbers, so that's you. I'll say number 7. That's you, number 7. Everything you had was marked number 7. Black shirt behind your sweater with the tag. That's where you had your number 7. You sold number 7 on those stockings they gave you, 18-year-old stockings. Everything was numbered. I was here 9 years. I don't know what happened to the clothes that we came in with. my mom has, like I said, she had 9, 10, 11, 12 kids. She lost a son older than us. And when he was a baby, about 9 months old. They never, so I had a lot of siblings. I had younger sisters. I had Alice, Stella, Georgia, and Linda. I'm the middle one. An older others. Siblings. They could have put those clothes in with us when we left in June, or they could have given them back to my mother and dad because we were in the bush. We didn't have all kinds of money to buy clothes. They didn't do that. They kept those clothes. I don't know what the heck they did. Maybe they burned them. I don't know. I never ever knew whatever happened to them. Then you got a haircut straight across. Right here. That's how you were treated. You were treated with, I don't know what the heck they put on our head. I don't know, it wasn't coal oil because I know what coal oil smells like because that's what we had for fire. I mean, for light. But I don't know what the heck they put on our heads. That's what they washed our heads with. Darned if I know for what. Lice? Anyway, that's probably that. But that's how everybody got treated. You got treated all the same. You had rules to follow. You couldn't make up your own mind. The kids lied. I lied. I learned how to lie and quite regularly, because I was never a quiet little girl. So I got into mischief. I did what she told me not to do. But if she caught me and I'd say, no, sister, not me. No, sister. It wasn't sister. It was no, sister. You couldn't say, no, it's not me. You have to say, sister. No, sister, it's not me. Yes, sister. I lied. I was a hypocrite. Name it. That's what I learned to be. Right here. They taught us, no, I take the word taught back. They made us do whatever they wanted to do to us. Anything. Anything. The nuns here, right there you see the priest's house. There's brothers there. There's priests there. We had 3 at a time. And brothers, I don't know how many brothers, maybe about 5. One time I counted the nuns, I don't know, I forgot how many I counted when I was in the mission. They made us do what they wanted us to do. If they told us jump, you jump. You don't ask how high. That's the kind of treatment that we got here. We were lonesome, we wanted to go home, we couldn't go home. Peter ran away, I ran away. My mom and dad's same house, they had a shack there. I ran over there to go inside, I couldn't. I was scared of my mom and dad because I was supposed to be here. And my brother Sam, he said, oh, my sister's outside. So my granny said, tell her to come in. So I went in, they gave me candy and they told me, go back now. So I came back here. And, but they made you do anything and everything. This church here was our sanctuary. Mine anyway. That's where you saw your parents. But you couldn't talk to them. You were upstairs, they were there in church. But that was our happy place. In here, no. In there was our happy place because that's where you saw your friends, your family, the other kids' friends, the other kids' family. You're happy for them. And that's how it went in here. They did everything and anything they wanted to do. So you can just imagine. That's why I feel so bad for the kids that one day probably wanted to go home and don't know whatever happened. the nun didn't find out who did it. We all sat on benches, not fancy benches, just boards, like the ones on the picnic tables here. That size. And you all had to sit around, and whoever did it, we sat there, and the nun punished them in front of us. And that was not to say, don't ever do that again. No, they got a licking in front of us. So you never did that again. We had to sit there and watch the girls yell, cry, because they got caught. So that's what I say. They taught us how to lie. And there's a lot more things that we can share. I'm having a hard time to come out. What I'm telling you, they did anything and everything they wanted to do. Those people down here didn't know. They're the only ones that knew here. So they had all the pleasures of life that they wanted with the kids that were here. But I want to say this before I leave, that anything, any hurt that I have caused myself personally, to the kids, to the girls that were in a convent with me for the 9 years that I was here, I want to say that I'm sorry today. If and when I hurt you, I want to say I'm sorry, because it's time. It's a good chance for me to say I'm sorry. These little kids, there's nobody that said they were sorry to them. I know that. We know that. We're old. They were just where they are is because somebody meant to do it. It's not by coincidence. It's not by chance. It's somebody meant to do exactly what they wanted to do. That's where they are. That's where we found them. And the reason why I say that is because, like I said, the nuns, the priests, the brothers, anything they wanted to do to the kids that were here, it was okay. It was all right. You couldn't say nothing. If you told somebody, guess what? Those kids that were gone, maybe that's what happened to them. I don't know. But that's where my mind is going, and I'm really contemplating about all this stuff. But I want to say this before I leave. I truly believe in our Creator. And I want to thank Lena for sharing her dream with us, because she had that vision where it was, we have our prayers, and that's true that we do things in our own indigenous cultural way. In our Cree way, the Bush way, we do things, we pray things, we pray. So we still have that. We still have that. And we still can still go in here if I chose to. But I want to be able to say that to people today, that it is up to us, however we want to choose. Whatever we want, that we think is fit for us, let's do it, and we will be happy. And I'm sorry that my kids are not here. If they were here, would have went a little bit more deeper, but they're not here. And I have to go back home because I have a man that's not too well. Anyway, I'd like to thank you all for listening. I love you all. Thank you, everybody. Happy holidays.
Okay, thank you, Terry. Just want to mention, Margot mentioned that there's food. There's bannock over there, and there's some refreshments for anybody who want to go. Also want to thank a couple of people, Marie Martin, and thank Tashina for doing this. It's live streamed. And thank Julia for all the hard work. There's a lot of people I know in the rest of the evening will remember them, but Margot's going to come up, and right after we're going to invite Alice Rigney from ACFN, an elder. She's going to come up and tell her story. But Margot also wants to do a little something for before that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Peter. I just wanted to say that I know it's getting later in the evening here. I wanted to just acknowledge the Mission Canaries. So if you want to stand up, and just, let us know that you were in the residential school, please. For all the Mission Canaries, not the externs, the Mission Canaries, they said. Okay, so these are our survivors here, and there's probably many more in the community. But if you just want to acknowledge them, because today we've been going through a lot of grieving in our hearts. So I just want to acknowledge you all, and I ask the Creator to wrap his arms around every one of you today. Hi. So with that, I'd like to call on Alice Marcel Rickney. She's from the Athabasca Chipewyan First Nation band. And just, oh, I'm sorry. I know I skip everybody. I've been skipping everybody here. I'm so sorry. But just before Alice, if you don't mind, Darren has to run to work. He just wanted to do a drum song. Darren Mercady, and after Darren is Mike Mercady.
Oh, that's it. Oh, there you go. Hey. That's Eddie Schwalgans, Darren Mercady, and Isigas, and Meo Kisigal. I'd like to sing a beautiful song at this time of, with the discovery of the BC children. At a time like this, we serve a faithful God that loves each and every one of us. And a few years ago, I composed a song, and the words are Sagitin Kisimantu. That means the true spirit is love. Sagitin Kisimantu. And I just like to lift up all the survivors here in Fort Chipewyan, all the community members. I just ask the Lord to bless each and every one of you and healing upon your lives. God is good. Then ask him on this. Hi. I'm just going to ask everyone to stand and just as we sing a beautiful song and to our Lord and Savior, Kisi Mantu is how we say it in our Nihoan language. And God is love, and God bless everyone. And ask him on. Hey. Yeah, hey, oh, Sagete que se mandó, Sagete que se mandó. Hey, oh, hey, hey, oh, hey, oh, hey, oh. Yeah, hey,
Raskamun. Hey.
Thank you, Darren. Beautiful song. So I'd like to call on our elder, Alice Rigney, please.
Planet is a hello to the John he used a Gianazar on Illicin and Uhuthia sequiheslium. She sold illically sabah and us danahara. No, it's in Vigil. Yachit you. Sequis lamba badaya in land. Do genetic it's in nobody know about doing it. And do nani a dole do bena snew a John danahara quen. Take up a slin a quen land in your essay. And now Johnson Satala John danahara quen the scene tune. So only her, or is quanaster her. What John illa. I said, me, so I heal you. A John danahara quen, Lona, Nana, neither on this. So Laga Sagayo said, Janet, a John danahara quen, Dania. Lona, Nana, Seal Fila, are you the EK? And Nate, danahara quen, neither. They are unto Huthi Dale. No, but directly, I heard John he you. So dear not sir like Hully. Until you know about Nestano, but then the Jenna's on Illa Hully, the G's jail, but I need Tawny and Illis Nestanilla. That do the Naganis Tama Oshana A. So I do chew on it. Hey, I don't do it. Are you for me? Did I will? Are you to doing land? We could be down a tourist under your TV. First head goes to the first head. No, it's in the knee. It's in the knee. Internet is it's in the zone. My name is Alice Rigney. I was number 17. 1 year. Another year was 24. This is my daughter Janice. Today is her birthday. When I became her mother, I knew nothing about being a mother. Because we were not taught how to be a mother. We did not know what love was the way love was supposed to be. Because what happened to us was not love. They took away our thoughts, they took away our emotions, they took away the way we feel. We could not talk or express ourselves. And by the time I left the mission, I was just an empty shell. I did not know how to convey my feelings. I don't need to relate more to what Terry said or to what you all heard in the news about the 215 children. When I think about the age that I came in the mission, it was on my 5th birthday. And I came in the mission because I wanted to be with my brother Matthew. And I didn't even get to meet him. I didn't even get to see him. I was not allowed to talk to him. You weren't allowed to talk unless you were spoken to. When they said line up, you lined up. You knew where 17 belonged, who was ahead of you and who was behind you. And the tears that night, you could hear the children sobbing. In the summertime, we lived at Jackfish. And like Terry said, when we had to come into town, we used to pray for wind. So we didn't have to cross the lake, because as soon as you got to the mouth, the first thing you saw was that damn orange building. And I remember crying as my mom dressed us up and my dad brought us to the mission. And we used to wonder, why wasn't she crying? And years later, when I started relating to her what happened to me in the mission, when I asked her, how come, we were crying and you didn't? She said, what would you have done if we had cried? She said, it was when we got out to Jackfish that my dear dad and I would sit at the table and cry because the house was so quiet. All the children were gone. I had 12 siblings. All of us were in a mission. And when I organized the residential reunion back in 2007, I think it was my brothers who said, let bygones, leave it alone. And it's the women who are the strongest. We are the bearers of children. And it's our duty. It's my duty as a mother, a grandmother, a great-grandmother, an aunt, a sister to all the girls that I was in the mission. And I see so many of them, Flossie, Louise, Rosie. We became sisters because we were bond. And that's something that will never be taken away from us. We all have fond memories of the mission, the friendships that we created. And we also have tears that go along with that, and the loss, thinking of Liza Jane Mercury, and all those that, the lost ones. It wasn't their fault. When you think of the nuns and the priests and, and how we were so obedient. My mother was in a mission from 1926 to 1932, 6 consecutive years where they spoke only French. And she told us stories about what it was like. We had it a lot better in a way than what she did, but the meanness, the cruelty of the people who were in charge of us, who were entrusted by our parents to look after us in the name of God, did everything but look after us. They showed us how to be hypocrites, how to be bullies, how to be liars. And we knew nothing about parenting, and I became a parent. And I had to thank my parents for helping me raise my children, because I was raised along with them. And I thank my children for standing with me and remembering what we went through, that we were just children. What happened to us should have never happened. And one thing we know for sure, it'll never happen again. And even if that mission was still standing when my daughter Janice, my firstborn, was 5 years old, there is no damn way I would have put her in that mission. Because what happened there will never happen again. And it's, I say this with a broken heart, thinking of all the ones that we lost. When I think of Josephine Mercury and all her children that she lost, not by sickness, but by drugs and alcohol, because they were lost. And that's just an example of what we went through. But here we stand, and I stand proudly because I'm a survivor. I'm a survivor of the breast cancer, I'm a survivor of the mission, and I'll stand forward because when I get up in the morning and say my prayer and look in the mirror and see that person looking back at me, I'm okay. See you. Oh!
here for Mike Mercury, but apparently he had to leave still. But if somebody can just come and pick it up for you, I appreciate it. Marcy Jo. Okay, thank you very much, Alice. Real hard story, so true, right to the point. So, I guess one of the things I wanted to say is I've also been residential in the residential school. I went when I was 5.5 years old, and when I first went, and I had no idea what was happening. But I remember seeing these hundreds of kids all looking at me, and they were the little tiny girls, and I was so afraid because I saw them all looking at me. It's all these people, these little people, right? So one of the stories I wanted to tell, when I was in the residential school, I was like about 6 years old. They used to have cats in there. They used to have cats in the residential school for the mice, I guess. So one day, the sister said to me, "You need to come with me. We're going to downstairs. I want to hand down boxes and you stand there," and she's on the ladder. So she's handing me these boxes, and I'm only 6 years old. And all of a sudden I see this little kitten come running. So of course I grabbed the little kitten and I'm like cuddling the little kitten. And all of a sudden the nun's poking me, almost kicking me, because I put the kitten down and I grabbed the boxes and put it over there. And she said, "You pay attention." And I'm like, okay. So anyway, the kitten kept around me. So I finally grabbed the kitten again. And this time she came down and she knocked me on the head with her hand. And she said, "I told you to watch out for these boxes." So anyways, I put the kitten down. And as I turned around and put the box over here, all of a sudden I heard this crunch. And the cat, the little kitten, she stepped on the kitten. And it crushed the little bones on the back of the kitten. And I went and I grabbed it. And she yanked it out of my hand. And she said, "Follow me. I'll tell you what to do with it now." I followed her. We went out the back door of the small boy's room. And in the back was a whole big shed of wood. And she said, "This is what you do next." And she had the kitten, and she took a wood, and she hit the kitten, and the little eyes popped out, and she flung it over this fence over here. And for the longest time, I couldn't remember how come every time I saw a cat, I couldn't breathe. Until maybe 20 years ago, I don't know if you remember Charles Martin. He was a counselor. And I remember talking with him, and I said, "I don't know what's going on, Charles." And so we started talking, and I went to like maybe 4 sessions. And all of a sudden he said to me, "Did you ever own a pet, Margot?" And I'm like, "No, not really." And I said, "Well," all of a sudden it came back to me, this whole thing about this nun and the cat. I mean, I sometimes think, what did I deserve? Why did she have to show me that, you know what? That this is what you do with the kitten when the eyes popped out. And all of a sudden I said to him, and I just broke down and I said, Charles. And then I told him this whole story about this kitten. I mean, I sometimes wonder, why did they what lesson did they want me to learn from, actually seeing a kitten beaten with the eyes popping out, and they flung it over the fence over here. So after I talked to Charles, then I was able to, I mean, I guess I must have buried it so deep that, you know what, and I went to my country, and sometimes I see a cat, right? But today I'm fine. I have a cat. I own a cat. So I've gotten over that. But there's so many buried things that we carry around as survivors of Indian residential school. That's only one little story. I can't imagine what, you know, the other survivors have of telling their stories. But it's, you know, it hasn't been a good experience as well. I was actually in the residential school like 8 years. So can you imagine, out of 8 years, every year, I went home 2 months out of the whole 8 years. So I've only been with my mom 16 months in 8 years. How was I supposed to bond with her? And that's something that I carried for a long, long time that made me so angry. Because you know what? Because we were allowed back then only to go home 2 months out of the year. We weren't even allowed to go home like, you know, at Christmas or anything. It was always just 2 months out of the summer. And when you were home at 2 months out of the summer, you wanted to run wild because we were cooped up in here. I was like a horse. I just ran all over. Yeah, so, you know, that's just a short story for me, but you know what? It's something I thought I forgave, but you know what? I may have, but it's something I'll definitely never forget, just to have that experience of being in the residential school. Hi, Masicho.
All right, if anybody else wants to share a story, short story that doesn't want to come up, don't be afraid to put your hand up. I'll bring the mic over. Just not everyone wants to go Anybody else would like to tell a story? Okay. I'd like to introduce Irene Redwood.
Hello.
So it's not a bad idea. But
I'm not one to speak of personal things, but I'm here today to thank the Creator for giving me the breath of life. I thank the Creator for a beautiful day. I thank the Creator for my family. I was number 10 in a residential school. My grandmother raised us, and she couldn't keep us at home, so she put us in mission. I was 5 years old. My grandpa made sure he brought us to Fort Chipewyan, because we used to live in Point Burley.
great-grandma. But, you know, those little kids are so precious. They mean the world to me. My granddaughter is 7 years old. She's fighting leukemia, going through chemo. Can't be with her. We were at that age when we were put in the mission, away from our parents. But it hurt so much when I heard about the 215 children that were found. They're finally coming home. But there's one baby that is not coming home because we don't know where that baby is. Everybody knows my Auntie Louise. She had a younger sister. It's my Auntie Annie. She was in a mission here. She gave birth to a child. She was very sick. Baby was still alive, as far as I know. And then they were sent out to Edmonton, Charles Cancer Hospital. They never came back. They both died. I don't know what happened here in the mission to them, for them to be that sick and to be sent out and never return home. I have an uncle who is a brother to my Auntie Annie. Apparently he got injured somehow, he got hit in the head. He was sent out and he never returned. Those are the things that we can talk about. You know, those hurts. I'm having a hard time to deal with my own hurt because everything will have to start coming out. And I don't want to go there. But I just want to say to my lost auntie, the baby, and my uncle, you know, rest in peace. And to the many little ones that were out there and they're not found yet. That's all I wanted to share. Thank you.
Is there anybody else that'd like to say, like to share something or to say a few words?
I'd really like to offer you a gift for your beautiful story. It's a sad story, but be able to speak and tell the truth. So I'm giving you a gift.
now?
Hello. Yeah, so if I didn't give you flowers, don't be mad at me. I'm just listening to what I'm told. And I heard over there, someone said, you're finally listening. Took 60 years, but hey, you can start anytime. We're going to call upon Julia Jabat. You guys give her a round of applause because she did a lot of organizing for us to be here tonight. Thank you. She said, who, me? And Edward Martin is going to come drum or play guitar. What are you going to do, Edward? Okay, Julia said she'll do the guitar and he'll do the drum. And a little later on, we got our CEO. He's going to play the fiddle. He told me for about 4 months he could play the fiddle. Let's find out. And then Roy Ladisser is going to end with a prayer song. So if anybody in between that has a story and they feel like they need to come and tell it, just feel welcome. Don't be afraid. Just put your hands up, reach out to one of us, and we'll guide. Okay, thank you.
Good evening, everyone. So glad to see this many people here to commemorate those children that were found in that residential school far away. For the ones that were in the residential school here, we went through a lot of heartaches too, loneliness, watching other children get beat up and hearing them cry and crying for my parents when I was first in the mission. We call that intergenerational trauma. I'm a mother, a grandmother, and a great-grandmother, and a great-great-grandmother to this little girl here that's with me right now. And she's probably affected by the residential school that I went to and how we were not able to, like Alice mentioned, we weren't able to feel anything. We weren't asked how we were feeling. We were never hugged. Nobody ever said they loved us. And yes, me too, I was in this residential school for 8 years of my life. And yes, I did lose connection with my family. It's still hard today to connect. I connect with my children as much as I could. But the pain is still there. And I'm on a healing journey for a long time now. But it's still there. I feel it. And I want to thank everyone that's here today, Chief and Council, Mixo Cree First Nation. Proud that you're all here to support us and to support our community and the other ACFN and Métis people also. And thank you very much. We will heal together. When I was out here just a few minutes ago, I seen the eagle flying around. Our Mixu elder had once said to one of his sons, he said, "Kainan to tita, uti uti kanagatim na o rakyo." So that meant that our great grandfather Mixu had said, "Don't worry, I'll be looking out for you from up above, and you'll be blessed." And thank you very much. I had
Good job, Julia. She's going to be singing a song here shortly. We just. All right. We're going to invite Edward Martin here to do some drumming. If anybody wants to get up and loosen up a little bit and maybe just stay 6 feet apart and have a little bit of a movement, feel free. A little bit of a tea dance. No one said we can't dance 6 feet apart.
Hey, attention. Season Seagasm. I was 10 years here in the mission. I came in 5 years old, left when I was 15. And about this time of the month, usually, it's the longest month of the year because we're waiting to go home. And worst month ever was September. We call that a crying month. That's true. And we're not missing canaries, we are missing canars. That's the difference. Yeah, and so that's one thing that they took a lot of things away from me, except my culture, my song, my dad left me a song. Okay. Hey. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Okay, so the next person we have is Roy. He's the CEO of Mikisu. He's going to play the fiddle.
Hello.
I'm just going to say. Okay. Thank you, everyone. I am Roy Tuchek, CEO, Mikisu Cree First Nation. I'm privileged to be out here, and I wanted to do a violin song, kind of from my own genre and background. Sorry, it's not from your culture, but it is definitely to honor the 215 lost children that we care so much of, and probably so many more. So thank you for this.
Hello, hello. Man, that's like it was a scary movie. I was getting scared there at the end. Good job, Roy. Thank you very much. Not different style of music here. We were waiting. We're hoping for Red River Jig. No, maybe a little later on. But we'd like to introduce a song by Julia and the Canaries. Oh, Canaries. It's that old explosion expression.
One, two, three. 1, 2, 15. We were called Mission Canard. Canard meant ducks in French. Why did they call it ducks? I have no clue. Maybe because we're all following our mom. Maybe they thought we were the kids and the nuns were our mothers. I don't know. But anyway, we're going to sing a song for all the 215 children that were found, and especially for Mrs. Mary Couder that has left us today or yesterday, I'm not really sure. But we'll sing a song for her too. God has taken an angel home. I look up, clouds here tonight. The stars are shining bright. I was told when I was young, these are hopes up in heaven, where angels watch the fleeting eyes, watching us from the sky. But tonight the stars shine brighter, while it's taking an angel home. Make the brighter and much wider, if an angel for his own. Then you see the glowing stars, angels watching from afar. That tonight the stars shine brighter, God is taking an angel home. So look up, you are never alone. Angels are watching you, we'll all be there soon. But from the hope of heaven, we'll be watching our one. Shining down the love and care, we'll be glowing bright and clear. But tonight the stars shine brighter, by the feeling home. They go brighter and much brighter, if an angel for his own. When you see the glowing stars, angels watching from afar. But tonight the stars shine brighter, God has taken an angel home. Tonight the stars shine brighter, God has taken an angel home. Thank you.
Hello. So, I know this has been a tough evening for a lot of yous, and for the ones that don't understand, just pray for the children. I'd like to say that at the end of this, if you're all welcome to take a pair of shoes home, and just to, they're not going to sit up here, but that's okay if they stay here too. But you're welcome to take a pair of shoes that were donated by the Northern. So, having said that, I'd like to call upon Roy do a final prayer. And again, thank you all tonight. And before you go to bed tonight, just ask the Creator, be thankful for today. It turned out it was windy for a little while. Maybe the gods were mad, but just calm down. And everything happens for a reason. So I just want to thank Roy for coming up for a prayer. And then after that, if you guys want to just stick around and have some bannock and maybe talk to some of the elders and maybe ask for some stories that maybe you're afraid to ask some questions, don't be afraid to ask. You only know if you ask. Hi.
En tutemak na askum na auta. Ano si segama aman skuta meguma. Ai me orang go ko magi pe a ko te yo ono te agi pe to mago si a kista no tan si se ki pe skem go ya. Tan si so te kaki go yo te pix ko na bu te pe te ke aki go na do ke to ya. Pe ang do te mo te no ab mauta. Mi cheta ski o te ki a so iska tas kusnia. Narcisoa, Edward Giskson. Die musikista nan mano ta wasio ya go upo e sketa magmana. Meto on mamo. We to me how we are, what up go in your sick manner. He said, I'm enough to tell me. Agami tagamnete. Mapo ki pakten magusen. Kisim sak kando yogo atau. Kando abmatau. Apo kando atam sko atau. Muya. Kakiu go ba iksna ma chige tauta. Mr. Gusimo. We all mean a tansi state ago big school of the match on tansi state ago. Moikia. Kakiu manos kisika utaka wita me. Tapuelma. Kitaski noma. Uta. Kianu giwa pata igosa. Uta tuwa sakamu makitaski no. Sagaste no kuta. Paksimusa. Kiwet no. Sao no. Tapupuane se kiittämähitä ovassa. Mui kiiton. Ko apahtenki ko yksi. Jamata kan joutua semmoisia. Mä oon sakoilla. Te on nussem saketilmako. Eikä mä kuusen kiiton. Umat matsuun kesek matsiaan. No naas kun mun kuessa summa. Matsuun at matsiaan. Kues bemi vuosen muuta kesken aguma. I vuosen. Kuta uinome. Tämä kuusiaan nus pagoni uino. Ovassa kanus kisehau. Sagi tuonnutse. Bakse hau kuta uino. Kasa voim nadu tuasemsa. Sagi tuon. Mamu kamatuon. Isu kamatuon. Kai wikas nan do. Na spatuse. Ke spaita uisto. Ipek tämä kuusen ute vapaten ovassa uteni kanu ma uio oveva. Kani kanu ute taute muu samua uteni kanu. Ja nu get maksinu. Tämä kuusen on uskisi auto mamu ja kuesu tekin naskin na ogan uskisi kaun utema. Uskisi kauman de hikote. Mue kaski tamuun man teitä. Sagi tuono muuta suoso. De man teitä. Mio. Kakki joki ootse. Kakki peisikä taute. Kuesan ma. Kittuma kuusen avo. Keskein kuusia. Apuaksunuma. Kesapunen no. Onko se sapunen no ma taptu. Tässäkin se kaukuestuu tamalle. Sagi tuono se niin suhamaatun. Muhea iskaisi luoka vassak. Ei voi siinä kanu mani kanu te kuesu se mesvano vistoa kautta ma kuustauka metsä haakau. Ai. Naga mono makauin kamuai. Ovassa kun suute kamskaatau. Minä teetkö vasakamu makitaskiin on. Uga ujaski uma. Kakki kapmatsi makakista nuupa. Tapuisa. Kittama kuusi nuumio päivää. Cha. Nega mono mangama. Uta uino. Koska uim natu tuasimsa. Kapakko namuan. Kakki sagi tuon. Mio nook. Itapu kittamanata. Ute ajavok. Muista uimautma. Ute ajavok. Muinkas teitä. Ne miehet on oskisi kautta. Ai. And before I forget you people back there from the Western origin, I'm happy to see you people here joining this crowd today in trying to understand our way of life, our culture, and being part of this community. Support will all be on your side, provided we will never do things right. Human life is all measured in equal inequality. I'm no more of a person than you are, or you than me. I appreciate the support by presenting yourself here, the representative of a bear in my medicine wheel represents courage. You showed that by being here. Thank you.
Thank you, Roy. Those were beautiful words. Thank you. Welcome tonight to join us. I guess now that wraps it up. We want to you guys to come. You know, you're welcome. Like I said, to take a pair of shoes, just to put it on your steps, and acknowledge the evening. It was a beautiful evening. I want to thank Margot. I want to thank Tashina. I want to thank Marie. I want to thank Julia, Rita. I could go on with names. Thank you all for being here, because without this, we wouldn't do it together. It's all about being together. And Roy, beautiful song, beautiful prayer in Cree. And Edward, beautiful song. Julia, beautiful song. I know Roy, thanks for the fiddle music. Appreciate that very much. So without having said that, you're going to have to stick around, but grab a pair of shoes and just mingle, about 6 feet apart. All right? So thank you for a beautiful evening. Hi, hi.